Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Malvika and welcome back to the IMG Marvels page. Today we're going to be talking about how to choose and rank your preferences for deaneries in the FY1 application on Oriel. Please keep in mind that the FY1 and FY2 ranking systems work a little differently. A dedicated video to the FY2 ranking system will be coming out very soon. So the first thing to consider would be location. Do you want to be in England, Scotland, Wales, or Ireland? Do you want a bigger city or a smaller city or a rural town? Do you prefer to be around nature or do you prefer somewhere where there's a little more hustle and bustle? Do you want it to be a university town or not? Is things like having a place of worship near you important, or having halal food important, or do you have any other dietary restrictions or concerns that you'll have to think about? Do you need other services near you that you need to think about? Are you going to have a car, or do you have public transport to rely on and hence need to be in a deanery or a city with good public transport? Also, do you need an airport near you? Is it important for you to be in close proximity to an airport so you can fly out quickly if needed, or is it okay if you need to take a 1 or 2 hour train to an airport? Another thing to mention is that cost of living is very different across the UK and salaries are basically the same. There's the extra payment that you get if you work in London, but mostly the salaries are the same, and you might want to consider how different rents are and how different standard of living and cost of living and transport is in the different deaneries and different cities around the UK, depending on how much you want to save and how much you want to spend in your foundation years. And also you might want to consider, for specialty training, there's a lot of different courses that you need to be doing. And you want to consider where are these courses held. Most of them are in London or Glasgow, maybe a few other bigger cities. So you might have to frequent those cities quite often. And it might be smart to live somewhere close by so that you can go do your course and come back, or live in that city. If that's something that you're looking at, maybe consider those as well. Where are your friends located? And do you want to be visiting them often? Or are you going to be visiting London often? Because if those are things that are in your mind, you might want to choose somewhere that's closer to London so that you're not spending as much going back and forth every weekend. When you're choosing your preferences, do remember that you're not actually ranking a city, you're ranking a deanery. A deanery can be quite a large area. So let's say, for example, Scotland is one deanery. That's a huge area to be covering, and you will get preferences within your first preference, but you might also have to keep switching locations or cities between rotations or years. So keep that in mind. If you want some stability, maybe choose a smaller deanery rather than a bigger deanery. And also, the higher your rank, the more you will be able to decide these things. They might give me the option of staying in the same city for 2 years. I might rank that high in my second degree of preferences, and that might actually work out for me because I have one of the highest scores in the deanery. If you want to see how competitive your specific deanery is, then there are competition rates online which tell you what the average score for someone applying to that deanery looks like. If you're not aware what score I'm talking about, the score that I'm mentioning is the foundation program score. And your foundation program score is made of 2 things. The first one being your EPM, which means your rank in medical school, any publications you have, any extra degrees you have, etc. And then the second part of the foundation program score, which is the other 50% of it, is made by the SJT score. The only score that you will have in hand when you're applying is your EPM. So the one that's from the things that you've already done, like publications, etc., that you'll fill in while you're doing the eligibility process. So that's the only half of the score that you'll have. The rest of it depends on your SJT score that you will be giving in either December or January. And actually, we had some time after we gave the exam, before the scores came out, to re-rank our preferences. So it's not like a one-all, do-all. You can go back and keep changing them and keep moving them around. Another thing that can be vital when you're choosing how to rank your preferences is where do you want to train and what specialty do you want to train in the future. So let's say you want to go into the current run-through orthopedic program that's only offered in Scotland. one of their criteria is that you show that you are committed to working and training in Scotland. One way to do that would be to do your foundation program in Scotland itself. And so if there's something specific like that that you have in mind, or somewhere that you want to settle in further in life, then think about that and think about those things. Also, Wales and Scotland have a slightly different NHS system and a few different laws compared to England. So let's say you want to be a consultant in London, maybe it would be nicer to get a place in England in the first place so that you know the system properly, and that can be used as something that's in your advantage over another applicant that's been applying from Scotland for the same position. There's also information online about how safe each city is or each area of the UK is. Base your decision on that. Teaching might be really important to you, so maybe go online and look at the student satisfaction rates or the teaching rates in the different foundation deaneries and see which one works the best for you. There's going to be a lot of research that goes into this choosing of your preferences and ranking them, because every deanery has something different to offer, every location has something different to offer, and every person is unique in their priorities and preferences. Lastly, you can also link your application with a friend or partner. This means that the application will be linked and UK will try to put you in the same place for training. This could work in your favor or not. The thing is, if the two of you link your application and then change your preferences, the link breaks automatically. Keep that in mind. Another thing is that if both of you do not get allocated on the primary job allocating list, then the link will break and one of you will get the job, the other one will be on the reserve list. But let's say the both of you make the primary allocating list. You will be allocated according to the overall foundation score of the lower person rather than the higher person. So both of you will be dragged down to that location and that specific preference of yours. So those are things to keep in mind. And now I'm going to actually move into how to rank your preferences once you've thought about exactly where you want to be. So how does the ranking work, and do your preferences really matter? I would recommend that regardless of what you think your score is going to be, you rank your preferences exactly how you truly want to be in that place. Do you really want to be in London? Put London first. Do you really want to be in Scotland? Put Scotland first. Because nothing matters in the allocation other than your foundation program score. Everyone gets a foundation program score, right? The UK FPO and Oriel, they look at that score and then they make a cutoff. So let's say the Oriel application system and UK FPO, they have 1,000 places this year. Everyone who is the top 1,000, they will all be taken out and they will get their preferences according to how they've ranked them. It has nothing to do with like, oh, I ranked Scotland, but my score is low, I'll get Scotland. No, you won't. So it really depends only on your score. And only if your score is high enough will you be allocated in the primary list, regardless of where you put which deanery and what your preference is. And really put them in your true preference, because you never know, your score might be decent enough and other people's preferences might be so different that you actually get your first preference. The thing is, once you get your job, you can't be like, oh, I don't like this location, or this doesn't work for me, or this was my last preference. Whatever it is, it's yours now. So put them in the true preference that you want to be in that place. If you want to go to London, go to London. If you put London first and your foundation program score isn't high enough, that's fine. They'll put you in whichever preference that they have room in for you. But you putting Scotland as your first preference does not make it any more likely for you to get into the program this year. It all depends on how high your score is. Please make sure that you take the SJT very seriously and study for it properly. We will be making a video on how we studied for the SJT and we were able to get our top priorities and preferences in the ranking system very soon. So please subscribe and follow us so that you are notified when that video comes out. So do not rank your preferences based on what you think you'll get according to your score. Rank your preferences exactly as you want them. And depending on whatever your score is and wherever you stand in the list and whatever everyone else's preferences are, you will get what you will get, and that is all. That's how the system works. It's not a mind game. That's just how it is, okay? So all that matters is that your foundation program score is as high as it can be.
I forgot to mention that you will be given a lot of preferences, but you don't have to rank them all. You can choose to rank a few of them, you can choose to only put one of them, or you could rank none of them. And then you will be randomly allocated. But I would recommend that you do your research and you rank as many preferences as possible that you think that you can realistically live in, because that increases your chances of getting a job.
After the primary list comes out, there's also a reserve list for the jobs that are left over and the people that were lower on the foundation program ranking list. So once you've actually chosen your deanery, you'll get more preferences to rank, which will be to choose your city or your area within that deanery, and also your specific different rotations. For example, I chose the deanery Eleanor. Then they asked me to rank my preferences for my cities. So I chose Leicester Kettering. And then they asked me to rank my specific rotations. So I chose Leicester for both years, and I chose one that had orthopedic surgery in it, and that had other rotations that I liked. So you will get that option. Do make sure actually that if you have a specialty in mind that you want to do, that you pick a rotation that has that specialty in it, because you will be able to get a letter signed off from the consultant maybe that you are really committed to surgery and you've been an excellent student, and that counts towards your portfolio. It's a full mark in your portfolio. So that might really help you out. So make sure that you try to get allocated in your foundation year in the specialty that you want to work in the future. And also make sure that that rotation is in the first 1.5 years, because by the time that you end the first year, it's already time to apply the surgical specialty training, and the interviews for which happen after December. So you want to have already completed that rotation by the time it's December or January, or the time that you want to go into that interview. So you have everything ready. So I'm going to leave some resources for you guys to check out, and you're going to have to do a lot of Googling in order to decide which cities are right for you, which deaneries are right for you, and no one can really help you out in that regard. It's just going to have to be like either word of mouth or internet research, or check out forums, etc. I'm going to leave a lot of resources in the description box or the bio, and I will see you guys next time with the next video. Hope this has been helpful. Please subscribe, it really helps us out, and please share this with your friends so we can help them out. The feedback from you guys has been so amazing so far, and we're so glad that these videos are helping, and we'll keep making them for you guys till you find them useful. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.